Hey guys, welcome to the video. Salt here. Today we're going to be taking a look at the secondary weapon, the Ballistica Prime. Now in this weapon series, I take a weapon, I build it out, and I test that weapon on its own merits, meaning I don't mix it with any kind of external factors that would increase weapon performance. That would be things like Warframe's using abilities, pets putting statuses on enemies, things like that. I just test the weapon built out by itself and I leave it up to the viewer to make their own intelligent conclusions about adding those external things. Alrighty, so the Ballistica Prime, this is actually my second video I've done on it. The first video was almost a year ago. And in that time, we've had element reworks, we've had patches, we've had updates, we've had brand new mods. And then we also had one of our commenters that was like, hey, I want you to revisit it after all these new changes happen. And so that's why we are revisiting our Ballistica Prime video. So, okay, let's go into our little cave here. We have the top commenter of the last video. It's going to be Ferenberg. Our first commenter of the last video, Kashan2101. And our recent supporters of Toxic Sneeze, Johnny and Eddie. Thank you so much for your support. And we're doing the Ballistica Prime today. And the Ballistica Prime was recommended to us to redo by commenter Shaquem Simmons. And that's why we're doing it. Let's go down into the arsenal here. So Ballistica Prime is a secondary hand crossbow. And I personally feel like the model for this is about 10 times too big in size. This thing is like ridiculously large compared to like your Warframe's torso. For a secondary weapon, I mean, this feels like it maybe is like primary weapon sized, but I guess beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Maybe you like this gigantic monstrosity here. So, okay, let's go into the Ballistica Prime here. So we're going to go over the unique and interesting things about the Ballistica Prime first before we go over mods. The first thing I want to point out is that this weapon has a quick shot mode and it has a charged shot mode. So, and obviously the charge shot mode does a lot more damage than the quick shot mode. So the way we play this is by basically just charge shotting all the time. There is some very niche situations where you might want a quick shot, and I'll go over that in a bit here. So, okay, unique and interesting things about the Ballistica. Killing enemies with a charged shot spawns their ghost to fight for you for 7 seconds. That is probably the most unique thing about the Ballistica there. Very weird. So you get a little summon that fights alongside you for 7 seconds. And you can have multiple of them. You know, the quicker you can kill with the Ballistica, the more of these little specters you can have up for 7 seconds. Now, they don't do great damage. It was actually hard to actually even see them doing damage, but like I saw one of them doing like ticks of 11 damage. So it's not going to be good at all. But what they do is they distract enemies. Enemies will start like attacking them instead of you. So it's a good crowd control tool. Charge shots have a 1 meter innate punch through. And if you're able to punch through and kill 2 dudes with a charge shot, you'll actually get 2 specters. Or if you can kill 3 dudes, you get 3 specters. You know what I'm saying? So punch through kills will spawn more specters. Okay, this weapon is silent, and this is where the quick shot thing comes in. So this weapon is silent, but if you spawn a specter, he will alert enemies. So if you were actually going to use this as like a silent weapon to do like spy missions or something on, if you needed to shoot this, you would use the quick shot mode. But out of that one niche circumstance, you're going to be using the charge shot mode all the time. Okay, ghosts will not block bullets. That's really nice. Eximus kills will become the non-Eximus ghost. So you can't have Eximus ghosts. You'll get their non-Eximus forms. And weirdly and unfortunately, the brand new mod, Arcane Kamisato, does not work with these ghosts. So let me just show that for people that don't know about that brand new, Arcane. Did I say mod? Kamisato. Attacks from summoned minions increase ability strength by 6% up to 60% on the next ability cast. And summons gain 20% movement speed. I tested this morning because that was my first thought. I was like, oh, this could be like a cool way to like get Kamisato stacks. It does not work though. This does not work. Which is unfortunate. I feel like this is maybe something DE forgot about. Like maybe the Ballistica Prime ghosts are like coded in a different way, like compared to other pets. And maybe they just forgot about the Ballistica Prime, because it's not like the Ballistica Prime is an extremely powerful weapon. You'll actually see that it's kind of a underwhelming weapon. So like, why wouldn't they make Kamisato work with it? I don't really know. It's a bit unfortunate. Maybe they'll update that eventually. But as of recording, it does not work with that Kamisato Arcane. Okay, I think that is everything. Let me put my little notebook away here. And we can go over the mods now. We're going to have Galvanized Diffusion for multi-shot. We're going to have galvanized crosshairs for critical chance. I also always check the condition overload mechanics page to see if a weapon is multiplicative or additive with Guncio for galvanized shot. And this weapon is actually listed on the condition overload mechanics page, but it's listed as adding instead of multiplying. So I'm going to assume that it is additive and not multiplicative, which means that you would not use galvanized shot. It's just that it's weird that they listed it on the page, but then it's just adding. So I don't know, but we're not using galvanized shot. We're just going to be using these two galvanized mods instead. Creeping Bullseye for critical chance. Prime Target Cracker for critical damage. Lethal Torrent for fire rate and multi-shot. Merciless Gunfight for critical damage and punch through. This slot also is a flex slot. There are a few things that can go here, including your Riven if you ever get a Riven for the Ballistica. I'll go over the options after we go over the other mods. We're going to have Frostbite and Pistol Pestilence to make viral. So this is going to be the 60-60 cold, and this is going to be the 60-60 toxin to make viral. Now, if you had an external way to viral prime, like maybe you were using a Panzerwelpefila, maybe you were using Nourish, and you were externally getting viral, then you wouldn't put viral here. Instead, you would put Blast. I feel like Blast would be really, really nice in the Ballistica because this weapon, it's got pretty decent single target damage. It just kind of falls off because number one, it's slow to shoot because you have to do the charge shot. And number two, it's just single target. Well, minus the punch through, but like you're not getting any AoE damage out of it. So by adding Blast, you could, technically make the Ballistica have a lot more kill potential. So if you didn't have a way to externally viral prime, you will put viral on the weapon. But if you have a way to externally viral prime, try Blast. Blast would be really cool. And for Blast, I know we have primed heated charge, and it's tempting. It's tempting to go primed heated charge and cold to make Blast, but Blast is a status that wants to guarantee it on an enemy and wants like multiple stacks if you can get multiple stacks, and you'll get more if you use both 60-60. So if you're going to go Blast, I would recommend using the 60-60 cold and the 60-60 heat, even if you have access to the primed heated charge. But that's a little bit min-maxy. If you use the primed heated charge, it's probably not going to be that much of a difference, honestly. Alrighty. So next mod slot, we're going to go for Lethal Momentum for projectile speed. And in the Arcane slot, we're going to be going for Secondary Deadhead for 360% flat damage, 30% headshot multiplier, and minus 50% weapon recoil. Okay, let's go ahead and go back to this Merciless Gunfight slot, and we'll go over another mod that could go over Merciless Gunfight. And that's going to be the new Magnetic mod, Magnetic Might. So Merciless Gunfight, if we remember, is 45% critical damage and 1.2 punch through. Magnetic Might is 40% critical damage, so almost the same, and plus 60% magnetic. So you're basically trading the 1.2 punch through for 60% magnetic. So that's kind of up to you. What do you value more? Punch through is very valuable on this weapon because if you could punch through an enemy and kill 2 dudes, that'll be 2 specters spawn. Or if you can punch through and kill 3 dudes, that'll be 3 specters spawn. So punch through is valuable, but magnetic is also very valuable. So it's up to you what you value more. Also consider that you do get innate 1 meter of punch through on the charge shot already. So both of these are pretty decent. This is also technically the flex slot though too. So if you have a Riven, it's probably just going to go over the slot anyway. But the other thing I want you to consider is, I'm going to take this off for a second just to go over this next thing. The Ballistica itself is kind of an below average, maybe average at best weapon. And it's not that great as like a primary damage source. I mean, if you're hurting and for some reason this is your only like prime weapon in the game, I guess you could use it as a primary damage source. But the Ballistica could be used as a back pocket utility weapon because spawning those specters is kind of like a crowd control. You know, enemies are going to be attacking the specters instead of you and allies. So you get a crowd control with the specters, and you can add more utility on the Ballistica Prime by switching up your Arcane into Fortifier, which would give you Overguard. Okay? So if you're going to use secondary Fortifier and you're going to replace Deadhead, then you need to find a place to put flat damage on your weapon because secondary Deadhead is our form of flat damage. And if we're going to intend to change this to Fortifier, then we need flat damage on our build. And so that's where this slot comes in here. And we would use Hornet Strike. Hornet Strike would just add 220 flat damage. Doesn't seem like a lot, but just having one form of flat damage on your weapon increases the damage calculation by a lot. So by taking off Deadhead, we need to put Hornet Strike here, and then you put secondary Fortifier in that slot, in the Arcane slot. This is, you're going to get 1 Overguard for every 100 damage dealt to an enemy's Overguard, and you deal extra damage to overguarded enemies, which is really nice. So you kind of get like a magnetic effect almost with this. And if you didn't know, when Overguard pops, it doesn't even matter how much Overguard. It could be 10,000, it could be 1. But whenever Overguard pops, you're going to get 0.5 seconds of invuln, which is really nice. So secondary Fortifier with Hornet Strike here could be even more utility added onto the Ballistica. So not only are you CCing enemies by having them shoot at your Spectres, but you're also adding survivability to your Warframe by giving yourself Overguard. So I just want you to consider that. You can do the max damage setup with where I'm going with Merciless Gunfight and Deadhead here, but consider also just turning this into a back pocket weapon where maybe you're using your primary weapon as a main damage source, and you flip to the Ballistica if you need some CC or if you need some Overguard. Okay, so that is how you build out the Ballistica Prime. What I'm going to be doing now is I'm going to be showing this in 10 minutes of Steel Path Mott. I'm going to be doing this on a big dumb Inaros with no Archon shards that increase weapon performance, no mods or arcanes on the Inaros that increase weapon performance, and with a pet with no sentinel weapon and no mods on the pet that increase weapon performance. I'm also going to be going in with a melee weapon in this case for this run, only because the Ballistica Prime is so ungodly awful against Acolytes. You should never use this weapon against Acolytes. This is actually my second take on this video, and the first take, Mania spawned and basically ruined the entire video because I couldn't kill him at all. So if you have an Acolyte spawn, don't use Ballistica. Switch to your either primary or melee to kill the Acolyte. So for this video, I'm going to be doing 99.9% of it with the Ballistica, but when the Acolyte spawns, I will be killing him with the Nakana. And we'll just subtract those melee kills at the end of our kill count numbers. All right, Steel Path Mott. Let's go ahead and get started here.
These are worthy foes.
Now, the Spectres you spawn with the Charge Shot look a lot different than Necros's. They're actually kind of hard to see. I wish Necros's Spectres were like the Spectres that you produce with the Ballistica, because Necros's Spectres can sometimes like get in the way, like visually. Whereas these definitely don't. These are actually kind of hard to see. I had to like purposely give myself a an energy color. I just went with bright white, so it showed up like a little bit easier. So you can kind of see that those two Spectres there, right? Of course, if you're better at shooting than me, you could probably get better kill numbers. I'm like missing half of my shots here. Great job, Salt. Great job. Great accuracy. This weapon is not the strongest weapon, so you really, really want to be playing this to its strengths, which is going to be with its punch through. So you really want to be lining enemies up and trying to get like 2 kills for every, maybe even more than 2 kills, but you want to be like trying to get more than 1 kill for every shot you do. There are going to be certain game modes that it's harder to do that in, like things like Cascade or even Disruption, where they're more mobile. You can't just pick like a hallway to farm in. It's going to be harder to play this at its maximum because you're going to be more mobile, having to fight in different spots. when I do these runs, average weapons will get to about 500 to 600 kills in 10 minutes. Above average weapons will get to about 700 kills in 10 minutes. And like really strong meta weapons would get to 900 and over kills in 10 minutes. And I've actually done this run a few times. I said this was my second take. This is actually like my friggin' fifth take because I've screwed up a few things. I did an entire run with this without my microphone working. So when I went to review it, I was like, where is the sound? Where the hell is the sound? So I had to friggin' do it again. I got to the very end. I actually did the whole like, please like and subscribe thing. And then I went to review it and there was no friggin' sound on the thing. Like, damn it. But anyway, in those few like failed runs that I did, this got to like 350 kills in 10 minutes. So yeah, we're gonna expect it's probably gonna be around there again. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe I'll do better this run. Maybe I'll do better this run. Maybe we'll get to 400. That's still gonna be below average. We'll see. Let me flip sides here. I also noticed on one of the runs I did before that if you turn these little Orkin drones into Spectres, they'll actually like put a little tentacle to you to like give you shields. Like that. You see that little tentacle to me? Like it's giving me shields. Of course, that's very helpful on Inaros, as everyone knows. Inaros loves his shields. But yeah, if you were an actual Warframe that had shields, it might be useful. We have the Acolyte coming. I am going to be using my melee weapon against him because this is not usable at all against the Acolyte. I mean, you could technically kill an Acolyte, but you're going to be spending like a good 5 minutes killing him. So I'm just going to go ahead and melee this dude down real quick. There we go. I'll subtract my melee kills at the end. Just so we don't get them muddied in with our Ballistica kills. So obviously, I'm showing like the max DPS version of the Ballistica, but the Ballistica itself is not a very good DPS weapon. So I would probably... personally, I would probably lean a little bit more on the secondary fortifier and the Hornet Strike setup. But that's up to you. That's up to you. Like I said, maybe you got unlucky and this is like your first prime weapon in the game. And so you just want the max DPS setup. Which would be this one here. But if not, consider fortifier with Hornet Strike in that flex slot. Or of course, if you don't have fortifier, you don't really have that option either. Let me bring him back into like a level area where I can get my punch through working better. Bring the horde back. Come on, we gotta get to that sexy 350 kills we got last time. Get these little shield drones out of here.
Extraction is ready.
Let me hit a couple of life supports. If you play into this weapon's strengths, which is not going to be in a big open room like that, you really don't want to be fighting in a big open room. You want to funnel them so you can get your punch through working at max.
Critical life support levels. Extraction is your best option.
All right, let us hit a life support real quick. Got to travel a little bit away here, but I think I'll be able to hit it in time if I don't get stuck on trees. Very good. Hit this one here. Got about 2 minutes. Maybe I'll hit a third one. Should I? Yeah, 2 might be good enough. And we'll re-meet the horde probably back at that doorway there. Yep.
Behold the Tenno, come to scavenge and desecrate this sacred realm.
I feel like I might be doing a little bit worse this time than the last run with 350 kills. So we might actually see less than 350. We'll see. Every run's going to be a little bit different. It shouldn't be much different, though. It shouldn't, like, all of a sudden be, like, 700 kills when the first one was 350. Or it shouldn't be, like, 150 kills when the first one was 350. It should still be around that 350 mark.
It is time. I will teach these trespassers the redemptive power of my Yaniski. They will learn its simple truth.
I got about a minute left.
Extraction is ready.
I know. I don't think we need to hit another life support, though. I think we're okay. We got like 30 seconds we got to get through. I think it'll be fine. Ten more seconds. We got an Acolyte spawning, but I'm just going to ignore him. Try to get these kill numbers up. We got to beat the Torrid. We got to beat the Torrid. Come on. You can do it, Ballistica. You can do it. I believe in you. All right, that's it. That's it.
We will all share
There is extraction. It's this way here.
Hold out as long as you can.
Let's head to extraction, and then we'll see what our kill number is. It is 327. Yeah, so I did a little bit less than the 350 run. I think the 350 run was actually like 348. It does say we got 17 melee kills. So I think when I whacked the Acolyte, I might have been getting some melee influence kills too. So we might want to take that 17 out. So what is that? That's like 310? 310 in 10 minutes? Yeah. Definitely below average. Remember, average weapons in 10 minutes will be hitting the 500 to 600 kills. So this is definitely below average as far as kill potential, kill per minute potential. So again, I'd probably lean a little bit more instead of like doing the max DPS setup to doing the Fortifier Hornet Strike setup, which is basically the same. You just change your Arcane to Fortifier and you change your Merciless Gunfight or whatever it is to Hornet, like I showed. And that way, it at least has a utility purpose. You can use it as a back pocket utility weapon, get some Overguard when you need it, spawn some Spectres when you need it, and that's about it. So that is the Ballistica Prime. Hopefully I have my mic turned on this time. If you guys liked the video, consider giving it a like. If you haven't subbed yet, consider subbing or tell me what I can do to earn your sub. And I hope you guys have an amazing day. All right, bye.